Criticizing drag queens can get you fined over $250,000 in Canada now. According to polls, Conservative Party support is tanking with the rise of Mark Carney as the next Liberal Party leader. And to fix this, the Conservative Party of Canada is doing everything they can except actually be conservative. I'm Greg Wycliffe. This is Canada Now. I don't know if I'm going to bring back this segment or not, but I wanted to talk about the news. And warning, if you're a Conservative Party supporter, this video might ruin your day, because I am not going to lie to you and add to your delusion that Pierre Poilievre is our savior. The truth comes first on this channel, not the algorithm. But let's hop into it. Doug Ford and the Progressive Conservatives won a majority in the Ontario provincial election last night. This is one of the first times in history having 3 consecutive majorities in a row, and literally no one cares. The only person talking to me about this upcoming election has been Doug Ford himself texting me. Personally, I spoiled my ballot and expressed how I felt with a nice little drawing. The Liberal Party leadership debate was the other night, but even before it took place, my personal favorite Liberal Party leadership candidate was disqualified, Ruby Dalla. Why was she my favorite candidate, you ask? Well, she directly called for the deportation of illegal immigrants in Canada. And why was she disqualified from the Liberal debate stage, you ask? Well, she directly called for the deportation of illegal immigrants in Canada.
I will deport every illegal immigrant in Canada.
Are you noticing the pattern here? This is something that the Conservative Party hardly even says as boldly and as aggressively as Ruby here did, as a liberal. It's just funny that the political class who pretends to care so much about foreign interference and criminal behavior, yeah, we're not actually going to talk about kicking foreign criminals out of the country. That might actually raise the testosterone levels and bravery among the Canadian public, and we all know that we can't have that. But poor Ruby Tuesday, kicking an Indian woman to the curb the moment they stop obeying everything you say. I mean, this Liberal Party has done this before, except it was a different type of Indian woman. So I did not watch the Liberal Party debate because the cool woman talking about deportations was disqualified. But it went exactly how you might think.
And I'm going to call on Canadians to stop going to Florida, to stop buying Florida orange juice.
This is the person that you're afraid might call you racist, Canada. Personally, if I was in the debate, I would bring up the issues around Hasidic juice myself. But there was a very strong performance by Chrystia Freeland in the debate last night. I was surprised, impressed. She was barely twitching at all. She was composed, balanced, right in the pocket. So I think a big congratulations is in order for her pharmacist. Those anti-spastic drugs are working great.
I've been foreign minister. I know how to do that.
And then there's Mark Carney. Bum, bum, bum. Yes, the Conservative Party's worst nightmare. Uh-oh. The Liberals are grooming a shiny new puppet that can also talk like he cares about the economy. Dear God. How bad is it? Well, he actually has a resume to support it. It's almost like I called this over a year ago. Let's see. Tweets by Greg Wycliffe, August 2023. Replace Trudeau with Mark Carney, an attractive guy who says a few things about fiscal responsibility and ending corruption, and Poilievre and his flaccid Conservative Party becomes completely irrelevant overnight. And would you look at that? But hey, what do I know? I'm just some far-right conspiracy theorist, right? And look, I don't want Carney to win either. But the Conservative Party with Poilievre is offering so little to differentiate themselves from this guy. And if you really hate Trudeau and the Liberals and just want them out, you need to understand this. Carney looks and sounds like your average Conservative politician. You could not pick him out of a lineup of other Conservative MPs. He blends right in. And when they all start talking, guess what? The Conservative Party wishes Mark Carney worked for them. They wish he was on their roster because on the microphone, on camera, Carney, sorry guys, but Carney sounds like a lot less of a dweeb and a dork than someone like Scheer or Pierre Poilievre, aka Milhouse, who just took his glasses off. So it's pathetic and sad to watch the Conservative Party flail around saying, this guy sucks. He's just like Trudeau, and all the Liberals suck too. And now you're trying to base your entire messaging off of petty little details. And yes, Canadians are hurting in their wallets right now. But is this all Conservatives can come up with? More dry financial political jargon. Pierre Poilievre and his team desperately needs a much better strategy. Here's a suggestion. Actually be a conservative who talks about socially conservative things. Imagine that. Everyday Canadians are starving for something bold and different. They actually don't get excited by snakes or rats in suits promising them that they'll save a few extra bucks if they vote for me in the next election. I know it's a crazy concept that people don't find that appealing. And having tanked in the polls, you'd think that the Conservative Party would have learned their lessons by now. But just look at these two different headlines from this past week promoted by Poilievre in the same day from the more right-wing Canadian news outlets. Carney is like Trump. Trudeau's like Carney. They're all like Carney and they're all bad, actually. Given how much the Conservative Party has to work with, mass immigration, transgenderism being pushed on kids, frozen bank accounts at the convoy, and the persecution of conservative-minded Canadians on a regular basis, is this really what you've landed on? Let's compare Carney to the bad man and say that they're bad and they're liars too. I'm just saying, you see more creativity at a diploma mill college full of Indian students trying to scam our immigration system. And no, don't hire the Indian Students Conservative Party. That's not at all what I'm saying.
And we will bring a direct flight to Amritsar.
The Conservative Party is flailing around trying everything they can to win the support of Canadians, except be conservative. Opposing mass immigration, opposing gender ideology in schools, opposing foreign wars. According to a National Post article, 65% of Canadians are in favor of mass deportations. And the only person bringing this up is a brown liberal woman who got kicked out of the leadership race. What is going on here, Canada?
I will deport every illegal immigrant in Canada.
Most Canadians oppose mass immigration. Most Canadians oppose the gender freak show going on in schools and the foreign wars, obviously. These are slam dunk talking points that would antagonize the leftist CBC and change the conversation away from Trudeau bad, actually Carney bad, actually we're going to save more money. This creates a more exciting vision for Canada's future, and it would actually excite regular Canadians who are only passively not even following politics. Like, folks, you can keep giving the Conservative Party excuses as to why they constantly neuter themselves as a force that could radically change the country for the better, but at a certain point, you have to ask yourself, is there impotency by design? I mean, it's not like there's a shortage of news items for a real conservative to work with. There's been an epidemic of break-and-enters across the GTA. Cars with Suduran, an Instagram account, has security footage sent to him daily of this stuff happening in Toronto. And even CTV reported on it this week. 3 men and teen allegedly break into family's home in Milton early Thursday afternoon. Let's see what Pierre Poilievre has to say.
Whether your name is Martin or Mohammed, Poilievre or Patel, that anyone from anywhere can do anything.
It doesn't matter if the teen breaking into your home is named Patel or Mohammed. Anyone from anywhere can rob your family at gunpoint. Canada first. Being more aggressive and risking being called racist is the only way to actually address these existential problems. Try to talk about the immigration crime problem, you're going to get called racist. Try to talk about the trans issue, you're going to get called a homophobe. But we really need masculine leaders in this country that will just tell it like it is. On a fundamental level, we do not respect those who are not straight up and to the point. People actually don't respect when you beat around the bush thinking you're clever instead of just saying things directly. And on the other end of the spectrum, people don't like being spoken down to or having things over-intellectualized and long-winded. Speaking of which,
that alone proves that such rule-governed, classically liberal democracy is the exception.
I mean, we all love Jordan Peterson. He has now left Canada, by the way. And here's a video of him talking about rape gangs and multiculturalism in the United Kingdom. And it's 35 minutes long.
Why has the issue of sadistic mass rape on British soil reared its ugly head once again? The perils of an unthinking and self-aggrandizing multiculturalism, a word that in itself is primarily cliched advertisement for the self-proclaimed admirable and wondrous tolerance of the progressive hypocrites on the left and right alike.
I mean, it's great that Peterson is connecting the rape gangs in the UK to multiculturalism, but couldn't he have just said, some of these Muslims are starting rape gangs in your neighborhoods and they come from shithole countries and they're kind of uncivilized? You could have saved us 30 minutes, Dr. Peterson. I could have cleaned my room in that time. Jordan Peterson is the only person who will talk about democracy and authoritarianism for 20 minutes instead of just saying systemic rape gangs bad. They're coming from Muslim countries. But good, Jordan Peterson is warning people about multiculturalism in the UK. But what happened when Jordan chatted with Pierre Poilievre on his podcast?
Reminding people that when they get here, they are Canadian first. We don't need to be a hyphenated society. We need to be...
So we can abandon the post-nationalist state rhetoric and presume that Canada does have a Western identity founded on the a priori principles of Western democracies.
Great. So no more multiculturalism, no more post-nationalism. Then what the hell is this?
Ours is a nationalism not based on bloodlines, birthplace, or background. Whether your name is Martin or Mohammed, Poilievre or Patel.
How are principled conservatives like Peterson getting away with this shifty, two-faced behavior? I hate multiculturalism in the UK, but also please support Pierre Poilievre, who doesn't care if your name is Martin Lafleur or Muhammad. And just yesterday, a podcast between Jordan Peterson and Ezra Levant came out. Ezra is the leader of Rebel News, the largest right-wing alternative media outlet in Canada. They had an hour and 45-minute conversation about Trudeau bad and Carney bad, and they don't bring up Pierre Poilievre once? How can you claim to care about Canada and not call out one of the biggest problems in the country right now, the cowardice of the Conservative Party? But unfortunately, speaking out both sides of your mouth is becoming par for the course these days with conservatives in Canada. Poilievre just did his big Canada First rebrand, and what did he say with Jordan Peterson?
Foreign conflicts are now spilling onto our streets. I want to put an end to that. I want to say, look, we're not interested in the world's ethno-cultural conflicts.
Yeah, who would ever involve themselves in a foreign conflict? You, Pierre, you encouraged Israel to bomb Gaza, to bomb Iran, and you encouraged the Canadian government to send more military supplies to Ukraine. What do you mean you don't want to get involved in foreign conflicts? What do you mean Canada first?
I'm the only one fighting for a direct flight to Amritsar.
And we will bring a direct flight to Amritsar.
But don't worry, the digital campaign manager for the Conservative Party, he was out there on Twitter saying Canada for, oh wait, no, he's talking about Ukraine again. He's saying this is why we should support Ukraine. But hey, not all conservatives are like this, right? We got Danielle Smith. She's a real conservative. She's Canada first. Oh no, she's supporting Ukraine again. She actually has a foreign flag with the Alberta logo on top of it. And the digital campaign manager for the Conservatives saying, we love to see it. Yeah, we love to see it. We love to see a provincial premier involving herself in a foreign war thousands of miles away that's already sucked up $4.5 billion in military aid from Canada. These people who run conservative political parties in Canada think you're an idiot. They'd rather talk about sending money to Ukraine than even talk about turning the tap off on mass immigration. Poilievre loves to talk game about numbers and financials, but won't connect the dots of how mass immigration negatively affects the housing market, job market, and our failing healthcare system. And you know why, folks? It's because this Conservative Party of Canada agrees with Trudeau's progressive, politically correct, woke politics. You don't think so? How else would you justify their weakness and submissiveness to it? Why do they refuse to talk about every social conservative topic under the sun? It's because they are kowtowing to the same liberal ideas that are destroying the country and supposedly we really hate and want to get rid of. The only way to explain it is we are going from one abusive boyfriend to another, one date rapist to the next. No, but you don't get it, Greg. A Poilievre needs to act woke to beat the woke. Yeah, okay, good idea. So what happens when a blogger gets fined $380,000 for saying the wrong thing about a drag queen? I guess we just shouldn't say anything, right? Because we have to beat the woke by enabling the woke and letting the woke fine us for having just basic basic bitch conservative ideas. If you haven't heard, a Thunder Bay blogger needs to pay nearly $380,000 in damages for Facebook posts where they said the wrong thing about a drag queen. A drag queen in Canada can fine a random conservative internet commenter over $250,000. And it's too risky for Pierre Poilievre to stand up for this person. And that's how we're going to beat the woke. Is Poilievre standing up for conservatives or for drag queens? Is he trying to protect kids or protect trans kids? What's that? He's too afraid to even have a stance on the issue. Great. So he won't stand up for a conservative voter being bullied by a drag queen and fined $250,000. He won't stand up for a Canadian mother who's outraged that she was told that a balding man wearing a penis sling and fake breasts had a right to use the female change room at her local pool. But we can't be divisive, Greg. We can't upset the LGBTQ2SAR+. Besides, it's not like trans people are stabbing children. Actually, that's literally what they're doing now. A child was found with serious stab wounds from this person, or as a conservative MP Larry Brock called it, this parent. This conservative MP condemned this vile action. He said they should be behind bars. Yeah, no shit. Are you going to mention the fact that this is a mentally ill man hiding behind the ideology of transgenderism, Mr. Conservative? Still too much of a risk. To recap, the Conservative Party won't even criticize trannies even if they just stabbed a child. This is Canada now. You know what? Criticizing trannies might be bad for my career. Even an alternative news platform in Canada has more exciting rhetoric and a more exciting vision than Poilievre and the Conservative Party.
Canada's political class is too weak, corrupt, and ideologically blinded to do anything but virtue signal while the country collapses. We need to earn back the respect our corrupt leaders have squandered, and that starts with holding them accountable. Instead of letting these frauds masquerade as moral leaders while they enable organized crime and empower hostile regimes, we should be locking them up.
Lock them up! Lock them up! Want to reclaim your sovereignty? Lock them up!
Because no country that protects traitors and criminals deserves to be taken seriously on the world stage.
And look, there's definitely been some clever messaging from Poilievre and his team over the past 2 years, but face it, folks, he gets 0 points for bravery. He's always been calculated and safely within the CBC purview of what's acceptable, and that's why his numbers are tanking. He says he's fighting against the woke ideology, but is he really? This ideology demonizes right-wing Canadians on a regular basis.
And by the way, put aside race, this obsession with race that wokeism has reinserted.
I mean, that sounds great, Pierre, but every institution in Canada is still obsessed with race, the LGBTQ+, and is fining or firing Canadians for daring to criticize the gays. And you're not saying a fucking thing about it because you're a pussy. Actually, you're kind of just submissive and subservient to the CBC way of thinking of things.
It's why that we've put our names on the line.
I put my name on the line. Not only is there fake conservatism, fake patriotism, we even get fake bravery with this guy. He is not taking any risks. And then here it comes. But what do we do, Greg? The PPC and Maxime Bernier has no chance. It's not good enough. Newsflash, nothing is good enough right now. After 10 years of Trudeau and Trump humiliating all of our political leaders in an afternoon, Canadian identity in the country is at an all-time low. You really think there's going to be some perfect solution on the horizon that does not involve hard work? I'm genuinely asking. We are a young nation that really hasn't faced this kind of hardship before, where the entire political class and most major institutions are a bunch of sellouts who are more focused on squeezing the taxpayers and maximizing their pensions than actually serving the people. Our government is doing the totalitarian tiptoe, and we've never gone through this before. We're up against a wall right now. And I get it, people are hurting, demoralized. But when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. They don't find excuses to do anything else than actually do hard work. And I feel like most people who see what's going on in Canada are switching between two extremes right now. One is, well, we got to get the libs out. We got to support Milhouse. I'm going to bite my tongue and give into the cowardice and hope the status quo corrupt establishment will somehow improve itself. And on the other hand, well, it all sucks, everything sucks, so let's just become America and never vote again and start a commune in the woods. And folks, both of these options are impulsive and oversimplified. One is sitting on the couch and saying, I'm going to vote for Poilievre. And the other is just throwing your hands up in the air and saying, screw this, taking your ball and going home. The middle option between these two is building or supporting some sort of professional organization or club that's trying to get Canadians moving in the same direction to oppose the Ottawa status quo. And love it or hate it, the PPC defines this middle option. There's also groups like the National Citizens Inquiry and others that are popping up in Canada, and they have the right idea. It's building something that doesn't exist yet. It's new. It's white collar work. It's persevering to push something forward that is nowhere near perfect, but you're doing it anyway because you believe in it. And the people sitting on the couch who want to vote for Poilievre, they might say, well, we can infiltrate the Conservative Party, Greg, and eventually they will say what we want them to say. Well, with the PPC, you can join the PPC today and say what you want to say today and use their platform and credibility to reach far more people and be more persuasive. And then for the people who say, screw the political system, Greg, it's over, it's rigged, we got to go back to basics, focus on our family and community. Well, guess what? Even if you escape into the woods, build a commune, you're still just going to be worried about the political trajectory of the country. And calling the PPC racist, or that's too extreme, or saying, oh, the PPC is just a joke, they have no chance. This is exactly what the establishment status quo wants you to do. Pay no attention over here to the anti-globalist party. Do not care. Do not take them seriously. Yes, they're too extreme. Good job. Yes. No, they're a total joke. Good job. This is exactly what the Ottawa bubble wants. You realize this, right? Given our situation, where do we get off poo-pooing ideas that aren't that bad? I mean, half of Albertans want to become America. Although that's not what Danielle Smith says. She sees no enthusiasm.
But this kind of concept of Alberta becoming a 51st or 50th and a half state.
I see no enthusiasm for that notion.
When it comes to actually solving this problem of turning the country around, you need to get working class people on board. And wow, this group has a professional party with a website who wants a moratorium on immigration. And they want deportations as part of their platform. And they look professional. They look legitimate. Wow. It's actually safe for me to think this way.
Wow.
Because keep in mind, some people are still discovering the PPC for the first time ever every single day. And folks, most right-wing Canadians agree that the PPC has the best policies that basically everyone agrees with. So much so that Poilievre steals some of the talking points. Sure, their messaging could be better. And Max, if you and the PPC need help, call me. Like, at least the people who support the PPC are doing something. At least they're trying. At least Max is under the hood of the car making an attempt. And all I see are people criticizing him. Oh, he's not doing it right. He's got the wrong set of wrenches. Has he even checked the tire pressure yet? Are you going to help or just criticize? Are you going to show us how to fix it? Or are you just going to get mad at the people who are trying? Because there are people helping and there are people making a difference. People are so defeated, they think Donald Trump is some godlike figure who's going to fix all of our problems. That is not how it works. It's not that simple. This is not Star Wars, where we just need to take a single shot and the Death Star explodes. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're our only hope. Like, at least with the PPC existing, Canadians can pick up a purple banner and be like, you know what? Fuck this. Fuck the cowardice of Pierre Poilievre. Fuck mass immigration. There's only two genders. Foreign interference is bullshit. I'm tired of this. And is that not what we need? We need a vehicle for disruption. We need brave, outspoken Canadians coming together more than ever if we want Canada to actually change. And really, what's the alternative again? Being submissive to institutions that hate conservatives, especially white, straight, patriotic conservatives. Be submissive to the CBC. Don't upset the CBC. Let's be more politically correct. That's your solution? You think that's going to help? No, Canadians who actually give a shit need to do something and say something. And if you don't like the PPC, well, maybe you should make something better. Make your own video. Things need to get much messier in Canada before they're going to get any better. And I also want to recognize outstanding PPC candidates like Tish Conlon, Jason Levine. They've stepped up Some of these PPC candidates are knocking on doors every day of the week, putting up signs and starting conversations with real people in their area, letting people know that there are other Canadians like you. There is a group, there is a team that wants to change this country. We need to shake off this defeated, cynical attitude, because with it, we really downplay the little things that make a huge difference. That one person who decided to attend the trucker convoy, who gave the extra helping hand with a jerry can or a $20 bill. All of those little things added up, and it made a difference. It's the same thing with the brave Canadians who are joining the PPC. They're actually running out of the trenches into no man's land. Sure, they might get shot down, but they still believe in this country. And when they run out there, they inspire others to do the same. And I'm speaking from experience here, because when I first joined politics, I probably wouldn't even have this YouTube channel if I didn't first run as a PPC candidate and run into no man's land and get shot down. So the PPC was a gateway for me. And 5 years later, I'm proud to say I'm now working on my first documentary, telling the stories of Canadians who have been persecuted for their opinion in this country. Our institutions are captured by far left ideologues. People are being fined hundreds of thousands of dollars for criticizing a drag queen. And no one is talking about this or meaningfully fighting back against it. And that's what this documentary will do. A teaser trailer is dropping soon, but you can support the project right now at givesendgo.com/savefreespeech. But thank you for watching. That's been your dose of testosterone in Canada today. Hopefully I didn't make you cry too hard. I'm Greg Wycliffe. Subscribe if you enjoyed it. We are truth first, not algorithm first. So we need your support. Make sure you share this too. And we're going to talk to you soon.